What do you want to talk about today?
Let's talk about what you're doing there.
Okay, sounds good. So
what have you done so far? Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's been
wait, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Okay.
first.
Okay.
So
Is this it's live?
we're recording it so we can post it
Oh.
to podcast and YouTube.
Yeah.
Good morning from Seoul, South Korea. Bill Flory, wheat commissioner and chairman of the Wheat Marketing Center, on tour, our customers around the world.
Great, thanks, Bill. I'm Brittany, the executive director of the Idaho Wheat Commission, and we are chatting today with our commissioner, Bill, just to talk about this foreign mission and market access for Idaho wheat. So
This team that we're on is a North Asia board team of sweets, is what it is. There's four of us, and then Mr. Ralph Luce, U.S. wheat staff from Arlington, DC, Arlington, Virginia.
Yep.
all right. How long have you been there?
We came this way last Monday morning and stopped in, came to Korea and then back to the Philippines, and began our tour there.
So when you say last Monday morning, for anyone watching or listening to this, that was a week and a half ago. It's now the following Thursday.
That was February 22nd. Today is the March about
March 9th on our side of the world.
Yeah, it's
You're a day ahead.
so I know relatively closely what it is. So anyway, yeah. No, very good.
And you head back home tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm flying today to Seattle. Today's Friday here in Seoul, and I'll be arriving Seattle Friday morning time, and catch an airplane to Spokane. So about 24 hours till I get back to Spokane of fly and transfer time. So we're 17 hours. We're 17 hours off here of you.
Okay.
You're 18 off of you in Boise. So.
Right. So, okay. So you left a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. You started in the Philippines?
Yes, we did.
Walk us through your itinerary, what you've done, who you've talked to, what the point of this trip was.
So the first the first stop that after we finally got here via Seoul was in Manila, in the Philippines. Met with a number of our millers and participated in the Philippine Chinese Bakers Association baking festival and interfaced with all of them. This is the first baking fair they've had in 4 years, because of they've had a couple that were virtual, but this is the first one in person. Tens of thousands of people. It was an incredible event put on by the Philippine Chinese Bakers Association with excellent success and excellent interface in the arena. Mike Moran, Wheat Marketing Center CEO, was also here for that, as well as a number of the industry people out of the Philippines. Very well attended, highly successful, great interface. It even had top politicians. One of the Marcos family, who is a high level politician. She was there. There were hundreds of cameras and lots of people. And talking to Mike afterwards, we left at the day late in the day after that opened, and Mike said the crowds were even bigger over the weekend through Saturday and Sunday. So it was a raging success. So the Philippines is better than 90% U.S. wheat. Give you an idea, Manila alone is 25 million people just in the city of Manila. So it's huge. The trade fair that was put on really reflects the number of people and the interest in milling and baking in the Philippines. There was a school held by baking school held by Roy Chung, and best match the equipment manufacturer. 33 on-site participants. They couldn't have any more because there wasn't enough room, and they had 15 online. So the presence of U.S. wheat in the Philippines is very high and very dynamic, driven by U.S. wheats.
So let's back up a little bit, Bill. When you talk about the Philippines and the Marcos family, I immediately think of Imelda Marcos and the shoes.
That is
Marcos
correct.
Family, right?
It was her daughter that was there, and a high ranked elected official. She flew in a helicopter. And then there was two other elected senators there too. So the Philippine Chinese Baking Association is high profile and commands a lot of respect and power in the Philippines.
Okay. And the U.S. market share in the Philippines is 80%, is that right?
Better than 90%.
Better than 90%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very high, very dynamic. They're very high quality wheat market for us. They appreciate the quality and consistency that we bring to their millers and bakers, and ultimately their consumers.
And didn't we kind of get that market share in the Philippines? It started with food aid programs, right?
Well, it did. Much like Japan, there's a high consideration, and Korea. There's all three countries really have a high level of respect for the U.S. and the U.S.'s military efforts to keep them free and out of communist control at certain points in the past, and that appreciation still exists to today. So the Philippines are a market that's continued to grow over the past 10 years as far as wheat. Classes of wheat that are used there are soft white, club, some club, and then hard red winter, hard red spring. There's like I said, the other wheats would be Canadian spring and or Australian hard. So.
Okay. So for anybody who doesn't know this, can you explain U.S. Wheat's relationship with the Philippines, that there's an office there and what they do?
Right. U.S.
How do
wheat
how do we keep that relationship with the Philippines, I guess?
the U.S. Wheat Associates, which is made up of the wheat growing states in the United States. It's a foreign marketing development arm of the wheat industry, foreign market development arm also. Has foreign offices around the world, and one of them headed by Joe Bippert, who used to be from on the Washington Grain Commission staff. It is there in Manila and services that area of the world to help maintain and grow market share and interface with customers. They also coordinate bringing customers to on trade teams to the U.S. to the Wheat Marketing Center to learn about baking and milling tests that we perform on our wheat and present the details to. They they know the competition well. They know the mills well and what products they're using. They work at bringing teams of millers and bakers and press to the U.S. to Washington D.C. to U.S. Wheat headquarters, but also to farms to see the passion and conviction that U.S. farmers bring to growing a consistent high quality crop. They're also quite interested in the varieties I bring wherever I'm at. I bring the white wheat variety, preferred variety list with me and talk about what we recommend and the interface that we have with public and private growers here stateside. Sure that varieties released are of a quality and end use nature that our customers need and prefer, and that we can exceed the competition with those, excel past the competition with those varieties.
Okay. So how many different people or companies would you say that you've interacted with on this over the past week and a half, 2 weeks?
In in Manila, the Philippines, and Tokyo, Japan, and certainly in Seoul, South Korea, we've interfaced with I didn't count them, but I would say probably near 20 of our customers. It's been it's an aggressive schedule to make sure that that the team made up of U.S. Wheat staff locally, as well as the team of the three of us farmers, Ralph Luce and another person from Montana, are constantly are in contact with them and discussing issues like sanitary, phytosanitary, milling quality and use characteristics, breeders intent and interface we have with them through one of the functions is the research review, which the Idaho Wheat Commission and another other commissions just completed here not too many weeks ago. So they want to know what we're doing and what our like. A lot of questions on all three countries, their millers and bakers, about our moisture levels, how the crop went in the ground, how it looks, what the weather looks like, seeding acres and tended acres for spring. The questions are intense and very specific. Say rely on all three customers rely on U.S. Wheat to at least a 40% market share in some classes in Japan, to as high as 90%, over 90% in the Philippines.
Bill, as a wheat producer and a commissioner for Idaho and a partner for U.S. Wheat, what goes into preparing for a trip like this, and why was it important for you to have this experience?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have been here 2 other times in my career. So a number of these people through the last 12 days, I have met and known before. Some of them have been on the farm and have seen the passion and conviction that I and others producers, bring to growing a quality, consistent U.S. wheat variety that these millers and bakers can use and maintain a quality product with. The board team we sent out material about who we were going to meet with, what the issues were with particular mills and bakeries, and then we're briefed when we get to country by our U.S. wheat staff. One of the things that we do is in Japan, we met with the Ag Trade Office at the U.S. Embassy, and we did also in Seoul. And that interface with USDA Ag Trade Office is very integral. Those people are there at the embassy with the ambassador to promote U.S. products, wheat being very important, one of those.
Can you share? I know that many parts of Asia are in the process of pulling back on their COVID policies. Did you see a difference this year from past years about how things worked and how things were ran?
That's a great question. They're all 3 have a different approach. Let's go to Japan to start with. Quite sensitive to COVID, spreading and exposure. Face masks are required everywhere, and on Japan Airlines, which we flew for one segment, they're required there also. Japan in the next, few weeks, and then on into April, May, are going to be pulling the restrictions back. That's in contrast to the Philippines and to South Korea. They are more relaxed about COVID and the spreading and transmission consequences of COVID, and are less restrictive. We found Japan to be the most concerned, but yet those will change. The other consequence of that changing is people will be out more. Consumers will be out more, although a lot of food delivered, like it is in the U.S. More people out of that expanding middle class in all three countries here in this part of the world have disposable income, are out spending it, and part of that's a declining utilization in their diet of rice and expanding utilization of wheat products.
And Bill, I know you had the opportunity to address a group of Filipino bakers. Can you share what message or thoughts you shared with that group? This
was the opening ceremony of the of the Philippine Chinese Bakers Association. And again, a huge event, tens of thousands of people through there in the 4 days. And the first day was, like I said, was Miss Marcos, the daughter of Imelda Marcos, former, and her husband, former leaders of the Philippines, was there. And again, came in on her helicopter. The press, there were hundreds of cameras, hundreds and hundreds of cameras. It was quite an event. And then 2 other senators. And it really shows the political connection that the Philippine Chinese Bakers Association has in the Philippines. And so I represented U.S. wheat growers. It was complete with lively music. I danced my way onto the stage. I think that missed the video clip, and probably glad it did because I'm not much of a dancer. But we had a lot of fun. And one of the messages I said is U.S. growers, speaking for U.S. growers, I said that we're committed to a long-term relationship and value the Philippine people's input and consumption, input about and consumption of our U.S. wheat products, and that it comes, I think I said, direct from my farm to you, and they appreciated that a lot. Again, this is all part of a high level of presence that U.S. wheat maintains in the Philippines, and including that high mark.
What were your 3 main takeaways over the past 2 weeks from this trip, Bill?
First of all, competition of wheat suppliers around the world, which would be Canada and Australia, are very real and very present in the markets we're in here in these 3 countries of the Philippines, Japan, and here in South Korea. The noodle market is driven more by Australian wheat than it is by U.S. wheat. Australian wheat makes a very good noodle. It has good texture and color and taste. But when it comes to pastries, we were with SBC last night here in Seoul, and we toured one of their retail outlets, and then had dinner there. And it was the cakes are very light and very soft and extremely high quality, high end. And they are totally soft white with some club occasionally to even make it finer. Of course, then there's the red wheats, the hard red winter, which is a major of leavened breads, and then hard red spring is used in the frozen dough arena, and that's an expanding market in a good share of Asia, where people are busy, kitchens are getting smaller, the birth rate is declining, so there's less kids at home of the consumers, and a lot of meals are eaten out, more meals all the time out, and so there's an opportunity there for frozen dough and meals that are prepped, and high quality lends to that well. So the birth rates would be another area I would refer to being notable. The Philippines are growing rapidly. Tokyo is declining. The Japan birth rate's declining. And unfortunately, South Korea has got the lowest birth rate of anywhere in the world. And so that does not bode well for new young consumers. It's maintaining market share of those consumers that we already have, and having products, having wheat for products that they are coming to demand and expect as their lifestyles change. And the third one, is the size of the sheer mass of the cities. Like I said, Philippines continues to grow. It's 20, Greater Manila, 25 million, Tokyo and Seoul right in that 10 million population. And when you're on the street, which we were at places where food and people shopped, it was the sheer mass of people really shows the magnitude of the consumption that these countries are capable of.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about that. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
I think the take home on this for U.S. growth, U.S. Wheat industry is that U.S. wheat or market development arm that the wheat states contribute to, and who uses MAP and FMD money, market access program money, and foreign market development money, distributed by USDA, have a high level of competency on staff, a high level of interface with milling and baking customers, a high level of understanding of our competition in the wheat world, and they are an easy back sell to the growers that I know and I interface with. That your tax checkoff dollars at 3.5 cents a bushel on Idaho wheat is well spent and well represented, and well respected by customers, millers and bakers, and consumers.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you again so much. Thanks for taking the time to visit with us on your busy travel day.
Yeah,
and
thank you. I'll arrive I'll arrive Spokane about the time I left here. So international travel's always a little fun, always a lot of fun, in fact. And the time zones are make you appreciate a full good night's sleep. So I'm really glad to be here. I've had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of people and met a whole number of people for the first time, and I expect we will be seeing a number come to Idaho for discussions we had, and take a look at Idaho's quality wheat, breeding, growing, and delivery system. So, anyway, again, thanks for the call. We'll see you stateside in a few days here.
All right. Safe travels and good luck with the jet lag.
Yep, no problem. Thanks.